Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Kind of a cloudy morning this morning. A slight chance of rain today, but it looks like we're going to get some more probably tomorrow and the next day. We did get a pretty good shower last night. There was some thunder boomers rolling around the area, and I wasn't sure that we were really going to get a lot. And then last night, it didn't last long. So, the accumulation wasn't great, but it did come down pretty good for a while. So everything's good and wet this morning, and heavy cloud cover probably will break up a little bit today. But they're calling for a total accumulation this week in some parts of our county of up to 6 inches of rain. That's pretty significant in 1 week. So we'll see. Yesterday and today, several nations have come out publicly in recognizing Palestine as an actual state for the first time in all human history. I know that a lot of people think that this is the first time. There's already been numerous countries officially recognize Palestine as a state. It's just that now some pretty major countries like United Kingdom and Canada and Australia and France are coming out publicly recognizing Palestine as a state. China is trying to be persuasive with the United Nations, and the United Nations recognizing Palestine as its own independent nation. Of course, that has Israel very upset, and they're making threats that they will retaliate against these nations that's doing that. Unclear yet what that retaliation might look like, but that's happening. And there's stories in the news that Israel is losing its support from the United States. That the conservative right, is starting to lose favor with Israel. So we're seeing a shift that we've never seen since Israel became a nation. And I don't know. I keep wondering, is this another fulfillment of biblical prophecy where the world's nations turn against Israel? We will see, but I think it's something to kind of pay attention to and to keep notice of. If you did not see it last night, my wife and I made a video. She doesn't get on too much anymore. She's just super busy. That's the main thing. She's just a very busy gal. But last night we did a very long video, about 30 minutes long. It was our anniversary and we went out, so we made a video on the way coming back from going out to eat. And if you missed it, you should probably go back and watch it. We're not really talking about prepper stuff or, doomsday stuff. We're talking about spiritual stuff with, improving each other and ourselves and in community and in our relationships with the Father and with our neighbors and our brethren. It's a good one. I think you should probably go watch it. I mean, yes, it's a long one, but, if you can tolerate sitting there for 30 minutes, I think you'd be happy watching it. So, I guess I'm kind of known for saying unpopular things. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you've probably figured that out. I'm not. I don't play favorites on here. I will criticize the conservative, the right, the church, just as quick as I will criticize the communist, Marxist, left, woke craziness. It's all the same to me when it comes to pointing out irregularities and improprieties. And I think that that's the way that we should be. I think it's a very dangerous path when we go down only seeing the good in someone or something and not pointing out things that are wrong, especially when it's growing in power and popularity. And so I guess I can, once again, make some people upset. Yesterday was the funeral or the celebration of life, or I don't know what you would call it, what they're calling it necessarily officially, for Charlie Kirk. And I can tell you, anything that I say has no disrespect for Charlie Kirk. And I said this the other day. I believe that the conservative right, at least some factions of it, are using this tragedy to their favor. And I don't think in necessarily a good way. I didn't watch the whole thing last night, but I watched several highlights of it, and it did not look or feel anything like, well, like a funeral. It was different. It was very flashy, pyrotechnics and fireworks and all that kind of stuff going on. And I think all I'm going to say for right now is that be cautious. Some of you may have watched it and gotten really excited. I've seen comments in the last couple of days on my channel and other places that this is going to spark a spiritual revival in this nation. It's possible. I mean, an end-time revival is not biblical necessarily. I mean, I can't recall anywhere that it's talked about. And, Bible repeats over and over again about how the way is straight and narrow, and it's, few and all this kind of stuff. And so there was a lot of people there yesterday, and just things that were said that were just very odd and strange. Things about this, and I'm not even talking about the actual act of assassination, but mostly what's happened since then, seem very strange. And I think it is being used. I think it is being used to further a big agenda of big government that is shrouded in conservatism, that makes it look like that, the good guys are in charge, so you can just sit back and relax and let us do our job. And actually it's, as bad as the left doing their job. It's just in a different way. I just, there's so much I want to say, and I'm really trying to restrain myself. But just be cautious of this. Actually, it's the Homeland Security Department is pushing a new phone app. I haven't been able to confirm this, but I'm seeing several reports online that the app was designed by Palantir. Now, like I said, I haven't been able to confirm that, so that may not be true at all. So please, note that. But it's called Protect USA. And it's an app where you can go on and you can report people that are un-American, that are criticizing Charlie Kirk, that's, criticizing the United States, that's, promoting leftist ideas, all that kind of stuff. And you can go on there and you can see businesses that are, un-American and pro-illegals and pro-leftists and all this kind of stuff. And this just... I know that it's okay, and I support the idea that, don't shop at a place that's bad and that promotes... I'm that way, if I can at all, I'm not going to spend my money in a place that supports, ideas that are antithetical to what I stand for. But doing it in this way, seems that the government's supporting this. And if it's true that it's Palantir, and that's still debatable, this is, my goodness, we're getting into some really strange, dangerous territory that's has some similarities. And I'm not calling this National Socialist, whatever, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that's what it is. But my goodness, there are some things that are looking really strange, when we've got the president openly talking about the restriction of speech, not based on what someone may be saying about Charlie Kirk or about woke leftist ideas, but simply because they're critical of him. I mean, it's really strange. A lot of what I saw yesterday looked very, very theatrical. The president himself, probably jokingly, but with him, I mean, he jokes and tells the truth and is serious all in the same breath, it seems. It's his way of kind of communicating that he hates his enemies, that he hates his opponent, and he does not forgive them. And that's It's not really something we should want to hear from a president, from a leader, any kind of leader. So I think that my message this morning is to just proceed with caution. Some of you know exactly what I'm saying. You're very aware of it. You see it. You've seen it for a long, long, long time. Some of you are just starting to kind of wake up and realize it. You know what? Maybe there is something weird going on. Maybe this isn't as awesome and great as what we thought it was going to be a few months ago. And the change in tone that's happened in the last couple of weeks, the last, 10 days, however long it's been, is been actually kind of shocking. And would I love to rid our nation and our world from these far left woke ideologies and stuff? Yeah, I would. But a government, mind you, not people, not movement, not spiritual, nothing like that. Government. If a government is powerful enough to rid and destroy that, the far left, to round them up, to censor them, to arrest them, to investigate them, simply because of their political ideology, then that government is equally powerful enough to do that to you. And it doesn't have to be when the next person is in power. There are many factions on the right, and maybe what faction you fall under is not the approved faction, and so you could be investigated too. I mean, this is historical, folks. This has happened throughout history, and it is dangerous. It is extremely, extremely dangerous to be going down this path. I understand that right now the argument is, we're going down this path because there is a lot of evil out there, and we have to rid this world from evil like it's some kind of crusade. And that sounds good and acceptable, but always remember that when you give government that much power, it ain't giving it back. And it can be used for other things. Look at 9/11. We came up with the Patriot Act, and it was to rid this nation of all these Islamic extremists that were trying to burn our buildings to the ground and all fly planes into things. And in the end, the Patriot Act was used more against folks like you and I and just Americans than it was anything else. And this is a very dangerous path, folks. You may not agree with the words I say. You may not like them. It may upset you. It may enrage you. You can call me, would you love to have Kamala instead, or some kind of leftist, or I'm being paid by George Soros. I've heard all that stuff. All of it. I've heard it all and more. But I'm telling you, you better wake up, because we're not going in a good direction. This is not what our founding fathers wanted. I promise you. This is not small government. This is not small conservative. This is something, it's not really new, but it's not what I think most people wanted. And they're so blinded by the hype and the energy, and that, we're going to be on top. We're going to do to the left what they've done to us for the last 4 or 5, 10 years or whatever. Just be careful. Wake up and see what's going on. All right, that's all I'm going to say today. Get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.